Good evening and welcome to another weekly edition of our program here on the Remote Work newspaper. And this week, we'll be having one of the software engineers of a very fast-growing startup in Nigeria, having different branches across the globe. And today we have Mr. or let me call him engineer, Thompson Mina. Thompson Mina, you're welcome on the program.
And I'm pleased to be here. So, my name is Thompson Mina, and I'm a software engineer at Alluvium.
All right, Mr. Thompson, can we quickly have a rundown of, what exactly software engineering is all about?
Okay, so as a software engineer, it's your job to deliver solutions, to deliver solutions to the clients, to the people, to a project, or to whoever you are working with. So you use your expertise in programming and in other software technologies to be able to achieve and deliver something of value. So you can be so as a software engineer, as your main job is to use all the things you learned, the programming languages, the tools you have, translate that, use it to build architecture and build things that provide value for your relevant stakeholders.
All right. It's to some of us or to a layman who is not technologically savvy, and when you say software engineering or when you talk of a software engineer, it looks so abstract, and because many people believe that engineering has to do with having tools, having physical appliances, and all of that, but in the case of software engineering, how does it apply to solving problems?
Okay, just like with regular engineering, where it's a mix of, for example, now the civil engineer, his job is to build projects that involve in infrastructure. Like, let's say, if you want to build a bridge, to build a bridge, you need tools. You need the actual like raw materials, the tools. You also need expertise. You need a civil engineer that had studied or has the ideas or knows how to like translate the things, like, to build a bridge. You can't just bring tools. You need to apply like mathematics and other knowledge. So a civil engineer brings that mix of raw knowledge and tools to produce the outcome, which is a bridge. So if I want to relate this to a software engineer, I would say just like how you have actual physical tools, you also have what I call software tools. For example, a programming language like Python is, or you call it a software tool. Uh, Things like a database, to call them a software tool. So just like how the civil engineer brings those tools and materials together with their ideas to create a deliverable, to create something, that bridge. A software engineer uses the software tools available to him or her, and also their ideas. They use it to craft a product. They use it to craft something tangible, and that most of the time that thing is going to be it's going to be another piece of software. So that's how I
All
can.
right, let's not get it down to your roles, your designation in Alluvium as a company. What's your portfolio? What problem have you solved? And let's know your things you have done in Alluvium company.
Okay, so yeah, at Alluvium, we like to say that we are in the business of problem solving. So just a little bit of background. What we do here at Alluvium is that we are a migration, we are majorly, among other things that we do, we majorly provide services around data migrations for businesses and companies. So data migration in the sense that majorly around if you want to move your data from a platform, one platform to another. So you are a big company, you have lots of data, and you are currently storing it on a solution, on a current like business solution, software or something like you use, and you want to move it to another solution. And to do that is going to require a lot of effort and work. So you come to us and you say, I need I need to get this to, to where I have this thing here and I need to get it to there. So what our job is to come in and deliver solutions that will get your data migrated. So that's where the word migration comes from. Get data migrated from one place to the other. And we mostly deal with the Atlassian ecosystem. So most of the time we are moving data in and out and from Atlassian products like Jira or Confluence, things like that.
All right.
So
You talk.
yeah,
Let me take you on the Atlassian ecology that you talked about, Jira and Confluence and all of that. What are the usefulness of these tools, of these technological tools? Let's start from Atlassian.
yeah. So as we know, tools are very important to human beings. Like for example, if you wanted to be more orderly in life, you'll be advised to have like a to-do list. You have like your either your to-do software or like even just a journal where you write things to do on your day to day. So so one of the Atlassian suite of products, Jira, you could say it is a tool that enables large organizations and large companies to sort of keep track. Is a project management tool. The project management in the sense that the company is going to be running a lot of projects, they're going to be doing a lot of programs. So they want a solution that will be able to allow the key people know always be always be aware of what's going on in the company at that moment. Always be able so it helps the company manage the projects and manage the things they do on the day to day. So just like how your journal, you're able to have like direction, like you wake up in the morning, you know that these are things you are going to do, these are the things you're doing today, these are the things you want to do. So a program like Jira helps companies broadly in that sense
Uh,
to
what,
help them manage their operations, especially
okay,
around
daily
projects.
activities. So what
Yes.
about the conference that you talked about and other Atlassian products?
Yeah. So Confluence sort of functions like a knowledge bank. So the analog to Confluence would be if you had like a diary or if you had a shelf where if you were someone that took notes and you had a shelf where you take a note, you keep it for you to come back to it or for someone else to come back to it. So Confluence acts like that for a company. All their knowledge, everything that an employee needs to know, things that they need to prepare for their clients, any stuff like that.
Okay.
And basically anything that can be documented can be stored in Confluence. So it's a platform that companies use to document their processes. And Atlassian also has other suites of products like Bitbucket and Trello. But yeah,
So now you've been working for this company for how many years?
I've been working here for about a year and June ending will make it 6 months, a year and 6 months. Yeah.
So let's talk about your experience. How has it been? Your experience as a software engineer with Alluvium company.
Mm, I would say my experience here has been really good. It has been mostly positive. I can say personally that I've seen a lot of growth in the little time that I have been here. Like, I have grown exponentially as a person, as a software engineer. I've this job has given me challenges that have pushed me, that have made me become sort of better, and that's what we want. We don't want to stagnate. Like keep on getting like things that challenge your knowledge, challenge that make you go and seek out new knowledge to like, be able to achieve what you need to achieve to be to to help your team and to help the company. So I appreciate that.
the software engineering department has like how many personnel? Because we see the products of the company everywhere. Alluvium here, alluvium there. You know, who are the people? How many team do you have? How many members do you have in your team?
Mm. Okay, so the software arm of Alluvium, we are broadly grouped into four teams that handle four core activities, or sort of like four activities. So in my team, I am in the migration team. So currently we are five in my team. I have my team leader Adiola Lawal, and then my teammates James, Kodija, Tosin, and I. So that makes up five of us.
So, how many projects, since you joined this company, how many projects have you handled? And what can you say? What successes did you make? And the challenges also. And if there are cases of failure, we'd also want to know.
Okay, so I think I might not be super accurate on this, but I have worked on upwards of six projects since I've been here. Uh, Most of the time, project might span upwards of a month to 3 months. Um, those projects, they have been some more complex than others, some more challenging than others, but at the end of the day, we have been able to complete and finish and successfully deliver those projects to the clients. And you mentioned failure, which brings me to a project. So there was a project that we did that I was involved in, and we're supposed to deliver a migration. And yeah, the first time that we did it, it wasn't perfect. So it wasn't perfect. So the the client that we did for, they rejected it. Into well, when you're doing a migration, you don't want a rejection. That's like one of the last things you want. So you
Hmm.
can say that's like a failure.
Yeah, of
But
course. Mhm.
but but that but we had to deliver that project. So from that, we learned our lessons. We learned from that rejection, we learned our lessons, and we went back and we did the migration again for that company the next week. And we were able to deliver everything, and we were able to satisfy the client. And around this, I've learned a lot from my two bosses, Ogawale and JT. I remember because I think that was one of the first projects I was on when I got here. So I took that rejection as a personal like feeling on me. But my bosses, they were able to like make me understand that a failure doesn't have to reflect on the person. It's just how you handle it. It is how you come back that defines you. It's just like failures are going to happen. Your goal is to try and minimize the amount of times you fail, but always and always come back stronger. Always learn from that. I think that's what I took from them. That's what I took from that lesson, that
Right.
experience.
All right. Thank you. Now moving on, I want to, because if you look at the Nigerian ecology, you discover that many things are tending towards technology. The civil service, the transportation, talk of entertainment too.
Mm.
Technology is going and entering into all sectors, and it has its promises and its disadvantages. What are the prospects of technology for the Nigerian space?
I think the prospects of technology in the Nigerian space is going to be largely positive. I think technology in itself is a very great, it's a very good way to overcome barriers. As we are in Nigeria, we're still in a developing state. their technology allows to compete with what you call the so-called developed states on a plane that we might not have been able to without technology. With technology and with the opportunities that technology brings, we can sort of bridge some of the gaps uh, that differentiates a country from Nigeria from a country from like America. For example, we are developing a lot of tech talent, and other countries are beginning to see that they are coming to us, they are bringing jobs to us, and we are handling those projects, and we're building products, and we're using that, taking that expertise that we get, and we're investing it back into the country and trying to build infrastructures that will help in the day to day. So, like for example, technology has really helped, especially like in the financial, some of the financial aspects of being a Nigerian. You see a lot of products that have popped up that have helped people, that have given the common man access to some financial mechanisms that they might not have ordinarily been able to. And this was only possible because of technology and because we are choosing to embrace technology.
Yeah. So thank you. Would you want you to talk about the prospect of startups in Nigeria? There are many startup companies that one of them is Alluvium, even though Alluvium is fastly growing in the country. But what
Yeah.
are the prospects of startup companies in Nigeria? Do you think many of them will be able to sustain, will have that financial and technologically exposure to for sustainability over the years? Because looking at some giants, some technological giant companies around the world. You see job cuts here, you see them laying off their staff and all of that. Don't you foresee that some of these startups in Africa, in Nigeria, may not be able to, if those big companies are laying off and saying that the consequences of COVID-19 and some other factors are really weighing them down. What's the prospect of startups in Nigeria?
I think there are always going to be startups, and you may startups. I really like startups. Startups push the status quo, and yes, given our current economical situation, to even muster the courage to start a startup in Nigeria, it takes courage, it takes guts, and yes, not all startups are going to they're going to make it. Not all startups are going to be success stories, but it is in the trying that we can get solutions. I believe in startups, especially in Nigeria, because startups push the status quo, so to speak. Uh, if we didn't have startups or the incumbent big orgs and all, they don't face any competition. There's no incentive for sort of like radical improvements. Startups are what push that. And yes, you might say that some of these large companies now they are laying off staff, and then if those large companies can lay off staff, then what is the point for startups and smaller companies? Well, I think it might not always be the same economic realities for those larger companies and for startups, because most large companies they they are not very efficient machines, because they
Mm,
don't have to be. Like they have enough ARR, they have enough revenue, they can afford to not be efficient, they can afford to be overstaffed.
mm,
Uh, but startups always have to be lean. They always have to be lean, mean machines. Like irrespective of the economic situation, if we're in a boom or we are in a recession or a downturn, startups historically have always been lean and more efficient, because there's simply not enough capital to go around. So those big orgs in the when we're in a more booming economy, those big orgs they could afford to be overstaffed. But
Mm.
now I think the area they are seeing now is that the economy is not so longer favorable, especially internationally. And now they are trying to, I'll say they're trying to emulate startups. They're trying to cut down on some of the expenses, and there's part of that is in the layoffs. I don't think the reality of layoffs will really apply too much to startups because as long as the startup has a good founder, has a good team, I think a good startup that has a good mission and is willing to build things that will benefit society as a whole. I think there's always going to be space for those people, and they are always and they are going to uh, largely be successes at the end of the day if they just keep on pushing. And it might not be easy, but I think that's
All
that's what
right.
I think.
What advice would you want to give to the Nigerian population, the government, and the citizens in adopting technology to solve the myriads of problems and challenges facing the country?
I'll say that for the citizens, I'll say that those that can and have the passion, they have the capacity to learn or to be involved in technological sector, they should try to. If you don't necessarily have to be a software engineer to utilize technology in your day to day, but just making that step to saying that okay, from now on, let me do some research, let me see how technology can leverage me. I think being able to leverage technology in the right way is the first step in being world class, the first step in being exceptional. Just look at technologies like ChatGPT, all these AI technologies now. You don't have to be super tech savvy to be able to utilize that even in your day-to-day jobs. You could be a you could be a secretary or you could be whatever. You don't have to work directly in tech to be able to utilize tech. I think citizens should go for it. And also, if you happen to have the talent for programming or software engineering, if you happen to be in programs or things that sort of what's the word? They're sort of near or adjacent to those technologies. You should strive to learn. You should strive to look at seriously consider taking like having a career in it and being consistent and being trying to be good in it, and you'll be able to go places. And what I would say for the government is the government should be smart enough to provide incentives, to provide structure, to provide policies that would encourage adoption of technology among the masses. And they should also be they should because a lot of governments I don't know if I say fear technology is the right word. They fear change. And technology is one of the biggest drivers of change. So I'd advise governments to instead of run from that to adopt it, sort of use it to their own advantage to be able to because it's the people that embrace technology early that are going to rise up and be better earlier. It's better to because we're not going back. We're just going to the society and the world is just going to continue to be more interested in technology, and the faster you get on the program, the better.
All right. Would because the other time you talked about having a very strong team, and we know we've been able to observe and investigate alluvium. We know that many of those who are team members of different departments are well qualified. But we want to know who is Thompson Mina. I want to know your age. Want to know your personal profile, the schools you went to, your qualification, and why you chose to be a software engineer and work at the migration department.
Okay, so I am Thompson. Above all, I am a, my name is Thompson Mina. I study computer science. Right now, I'm
Right.
still
Okay.
I'm still a student at the I study at the University of Lagos.
You may choose to save us your age. Don't worry, please. But you're currently at University of Lagos. What level at the University of Lagos?
I am in my final year.
Final year, and you're currently working
Yes,
with Alluvium.
yes. I was lucky enough to be able to locate them early. So and they gave me the opportunity. To a lot of companies that went to that to employ a student, and they have
Right.
been gracious in giving me some space to still like pursue my academics.
All right.
So yeah,
After graduation,
yeah.
what next? What do you want to do?
I'll say I don't have to think too much about that question because I'm sort of already where I want to be. I'm already here working at Alluvium, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. I've always wanted to be, not always, but ever since I found out about like technology and the opportunities there, which due to a freak, like it was a freak occurrence actually. I wanted to be a civil engineer originally after secondary school, but fuck, I should have just have done that.
All right. It seems we almost ended the program, but it seems we lost the signal with Mr. Thompson Mina. We're going to be drawing the curtain for this program this week, and I want to say a very big thank you to the founders of the leaders of remote work. Talking of the chief editor, and we want to also appreciate Mr. Otumba. Don't let me call him because a chief is always a chief. Otumba Taiwo Jola Isade. I will also thank one of the founding fathers of our company, and that is Mr. Wale Lojo. We want to thank everybody that has been part of this program this week. Next week is going to be another program. We hope to bring another guest to you. My name is Yemi Olajutemu. Thank you very much and God bless you. Till next week, stay safe.